Look, everybody, I'm flying. But am I really? This was a simple perspective trick. And that would be pretty impossible to fly. Because there's one little thing we have on Earth called gravity. Gravity is the thing that you feel when you jump and go straight back down. Now, you may be wondering, how does gravity work? Or why can't I float off into space? Or can this table have a gravitational pull on me? All of these answers all of these questions will be answered on this episode of Brain Smarts. Alright, so gravity is what pulls us down, and we're going to be talking about that in this episode of Brain Smarts. But first, I would like to say that, as you can see, there's been better graphics already, because I have my good friend Luke joining me as my cameraman.
Hi.
And it'll help me make this a more successful series. Alright, so back to gravity. So, gravity is all around us, in space, in Earth, even in us. But everything has also a gravitational pull. So in space, the sun makes the solar system because of its gravitational pull. So the sun is the giant star that all the planets orbit around. And that's the solar system for you. But what if the sun didn't have any gravity? Then what would happen? Well, here's a simple experiment you can use with you need you and another object. You could use a friend, a table, a tree, literally anything. So, this table will be the sun right here, and I will orbit around it. So I will be a planet, and it's having some gravitational pull on me. So I'm orbiting around, but now, what if someone turned off the gravity? Then I would basically go like this. Away, floating into the cold endlessness of space. And everyone on Earth here would die because there's no heat to provide for Earth. So, how does the gravity work? Well, everything with mass has gravity, like I said. And since the sun has gravity on all the planets, it makes them stay in place around in an orbit. Now, some orbits could go in a circle, like I did with the table, or some can go elliptical, which is basically like this. Pluto has a very elliptical orbit, where it's more of an oval than a circle. But no matter what the orbit is, the sun will always have gravity getting pulled towards it. So, sadly, we're not off in a giant space exploration in Earth while it's just floating off into space. But, what about here on Earth? How does gravity affect us? Alright, so, we've learned about gravity in space and how anything with mass can pull towards the bigger object. For example, like the Earth and the Moon. The moon gets pulled towards the Earth. But what about us and the Earth? Well, whenever you jump, you don't just float off into space, do you? You fall down. Now, people may think that gravity pulls you down. But that's not true. Gravity pulls you towards the Earth's core. Because if gravity just pulled you down in that direction, people on the bottom of the Earth would just fall off. Because the gravity would be pulling them down. Since gravity pulls them to the core of the Earth, they're still on Earth, not flying around. Now, there's a simple experiment you can do with this. If you think you can fly off into space, if you jump high enough, you're completely wrong. And there's a simple experiment you can do. You can use many materials, like a stick and a vine, like we have. It works really good with a tennis ball and a rubber band. But really all you need is something and another thing to wrap around that thing. So we have a stick and a vine right now, and if you wrap it around and put your finger in it, okay, the stick represents Earth and this vine represents gravity. Now, since you have your finger in it, that represents us. And no matter how hard you pull, if it doesn't snap, you can't really go super far, right? Unless it snaps, and obviously gravity will snap. But you can't really get too far out there with gravity holding you in. So, that's your experiment. Like this, obviously it's leaves, so it snaps, but gravity will never snap. I mean, that's just crazy. But gravity will just pull you towards the Earth's core, so you'll never start flying off in space. Gravity will always be here because Earth is the bigger object that pulls us to it. We are like all mini moons that are on Earth. Now, anything can, like I said, anything can have an orbit or like gravitational pull. And that's what we'll learn about after this next segment. So, Hendrix, buddy, so would you rather live in an area with gravity and stay on the ground, or float around on Earth?
Float on Earth as long as I can stay in orbit.
Why?
So that I can get around easier and it'll take less time.
So you could like float around and go to France.
Yeah.
Bye!
As long as I have jet boosters.
I don't think you can have jet boosters.
Oh, and I can just swim.
Swim in the air, really? Swim?
Yes.
Okay, cool. That was it. Alright, so, would you rather live on a planet with gravity like Earth, or be floating around on Earth? So there's nothing, you could still breathe, so that's not going to be a factor. It's basically, would you rather float or be on the ground?
I think I'd rather be on the ground.
Yeah, I think I'd rather be on the ground too.
Why?
Probably because that's what I'm used to.
Yeah, I think that.
And it would be hard to walk the dog if he was floating around.
True.
So,
although it would be pretty cool.
but not all the time.
Yeah, that's the thing.
If that was my choice, how would you sleep? What would happen to your bones? Would your body like disintegrate because you don't have gravity? These are questions that must be answered. But
Exactly.
I think I would rather be on the ground.
Yeah, I'll stick with the ground.
Okay, thank you. That was
Final
it.
answer.
Okay, so Luke, my friend, my cameraman. So, would you rather have gravity or be floating around on Earth?
I would probably rather float
Why?
because, well, you could get around easier.
True.
It'd be really fun.
True.
You don't have to use your legs.
True.
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, so we know how space has gravity and Earth has gravity, but what about us? Well, every object with mass has a gravitational pull. Even this playset and me. But how come there's no orbit around it? Well, that is because the objects would have to be huge to actually feel it. Like, the only gravity we can feel is Earth's, because we jump and we go down. So here's a little experiment. Stand close to anything, friend, table, trash can, and try to feel. There's nothing there. Like, there is no orbit. You're not floating around anything else. No matter how close you get, or how hard you try, you cannot feel a gravitational orbit. It's like how if two very small magnets are far away, there's no pull at all. But even though we all have it, we just can't feel it. And I hope I've answered some of your questions about gravity. And see you guys later on another episode of Brain Smarts.